Ave Maria, everyone. Welcome back to the Roman Martyrology. This is May 26th. The memorial of St. Philip Neri, priest, who, working to keep young people away from evil, founded an oratory at Rome, in which spiritual readings, songs, and works of charity were performed. He shone through his love for his neighbor, evangelical simplicity, joy of soul, exemplary zeal, and fervor in serving God. Also at Rome, Saint Eleuterus, Pope, to whom the famous martyrs of Lyon, held in prison at that time, wrote a noble letter on the maintenance of peace in the Church. Also at Rome, in the cemetery of Priscilla on Via Salaria Nuova, Saint Demetrius, martyr. At Todi in Umbria, Saint Felicissima, martyr. In the Auxerre region in France, Passion of Saint Prix, martyr, and companions. At Canterbury in England, Deposition of Saint Augustine, bishop, whose memorial is celebrated tomorrow. In the territory of Lyon in France, the Passion of Saint Didier, Bishop of Vienne, who was first sent into exile by Queen Brunechilde, whom he rebuked for her incestuous marriages and other depravities, and then, again by her order, stoned, thus deserving the crown of martyrdom. In the monastery of Saint Papoul in France, Saint Berenger, monk. At Vence in Provence, France, Saint Lambert, bishop, at first monk of Lorraine, who took care of the poor and was a true lover of poverty. At Siena, Blessed Francesco Patrizzi, priest of the Order of the Servants of Mary, who dedicated himself with admirable zeal to preaching, the direction of souls, and the ministry of penance. At Pistoia, Blessed Andrea Franchi, bishop, who, as prior of the Order of Preachers, once the epidemic of the Black Plague had ceased, restored the observance of discipline to the convents of the order in this region, and approved the confraternities of penitents in his city to promote peace and mercy. At Quito in Ecuador, Saint Mariana de Jesus de Paredes y Flores, virgin, who in the Third Order of St. Francis consecrated her life to Christ and dedicated her energies to the needs of poor indigenous people and blacks. At Fuzhou in the province of Fujian in China, St. Pedro Sanzijorda, bishop of the Order of Preachers and martyr, who, arrested together with other priests after a long journey, was taken in chains to the court. Arriving at the place of execution, he knelt down and, having finished the prayer, serenely put his head to the axe. At Seoul in Korea, Saint Josephus Chang Songjib, martyr, who, as a pharmacist by profession, became a Christian, was put in prison, and died amidst cruel tortures. At the city of Dong Hoi in ancient Annam, today Vietnam, the holy martyrs Juan Don Trinh Huan, priest, and Mateo Nguyen Van Dak Phuong, who, as father of a family and catechist, offered hospitality to the martyred companion. For their faith, they were jointly subjected to torture and ferociously beheaded under Emperor Tu Duc. At Munyonyo in Uganda, Saint Andreas Kagwa, martyr, who, as chief timpani player of King Mwanga and his relative, recently initiated into Christ, taught the doctrine of the gospel to pagans and catechumens, and was cruelly killed for this. At Taka Junje, also in Uganda, Saint Poncianus Ngondwe, martyr, who, as minister of the king, while persecution was already raging, received baptism. Immediately thrown into prison while being led to the hill of torture, He was pierced with a spear by the executioner. Precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of his saints. Ave Maria.